right, next up is a really good friend of mine. Man of mystery, does a little bit of everything, won the Highland Games multiple times, and he probably won't tell you that, but he's a fucking monster, and I love how he owns his life. Matt Vincent.
My brother. Thank you, bro. Thank you. Hello. Welcome. So, kind of fill you in on my story, catch you up to speed. The way I live my life is according to this idea that I have of just, I'm not dead yet. And that is the full impetus of what drives me forward. That's where all my motivation lies, that's where all the instinct lies, that's where all the passion to continue to push myself comes. Rob mentioned it, and I used to compete in the Scottish Highland Games, won 2 world championships, 2012, 2014, and then eventually retired in 2016 due to an injury. But my life really started to change in 2014. And in April of 2014, on April 5th, my father passed away. And after a short 11-month battle with pancreatic cancer, he was dead. And he died the day before my birthday. He died at 62, and I turned 31 the following day. And that resonated with me the more that I reflected on it and the more I thought about it. And what does that mean? What does that mean if I'm halfway through my life? If I'm halfway through this journey? And I look back and I think about how quickly those first 31 years of my life have just gone. And so I put it into words and got to looking at it, and what that comes out to, 1,612 weeks. So I filled a jar with marbles, and I have 1,612 of them in there. And every Monday, when I get a chance to reflect and do my journaling and look at things and work on awareness of what my week was, is it the direction I want to go? Am I following things I'm passionate about? Where's my energy being spent? It allows me to look at that week. And so as I reflect on it, I realize I can spend that week in a life of obligation, in a life showing up for things I'm not that into, fulfilling a lot of other people's expectations of where my life should go, what I should be doing, and falling into this idea of what success is supposed to feel like. That, you know, when I graduated school and I moved into a regular job and I was making 6 figures doing outside sales, and then I moved into being married and having this very comfortable life, and without competing, I didn't know what to do with it. I got really bored. And so whether I'm spending those weeks of my life out of obligation or I'm spending them chasing the things that I'm fucking in love with, every Monday when I look at that week, that marble goes in the fucking trash. It's not any better spent. It's not any worse spent. It's fucking gone. So the years in front of me are what I give a shit about. It's the years in front of me that I'm worried about. The years behind me are nothing but data to help me point the direction I want to fucking go. That's what puts me on point. And it allows me to build awareness and look at it every single day. There's a Mark Twain quote I really love, and it's, most men die at 27, we just wait till they're 72 to bury them. That's not how I'm going to spend my fucking existence. So finding that passion and drive led me, the same year my father died, to win a world championship, to start an apparel brand, and continue pushing myself in this sport, this passion I had. And at the end of 2016, I was hurt. Went in to fix an ACL, and in the next 18 months, had 5 ACL surgeries total, and finally rounded up on my 9th surgery, chasing chronic pain and things getting really dark, had total knee replacement. And in that window of journaling and trying to figure out what I'm gonna do, because fuck man, I can't be that anymore. And I know very well that after finding something that I got to be best in the world at and I applied everything I could to it, it was gone. I can't come back and compete anymore. Those days are fucking done. So how do I use what I learned from that to propel the rest of my life toward whatever it is I want? And the lessons I found from it were intention, the awareness, the inspiration, and finally action. And at the end of all of it, no matter what it is you want to be, It is simply you are going to be whatever actions you choose consistently every day. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You're simply the actions that you take every day. That's what you will be. Want to be disciplined? That isn't something we're fucking born with. It's not something that's going to find you. That's a choice. And for me, looking at those marbles, what it really built was total accountability. That I'm aware that in this many weeks, I'll be fucking dead. And if my life's not what I want it to be, it's on me. I'm the one who left it on the table. I'm the one who didn't figure it out. And I know that I didn't find what I was looking for in comfort. I didn't find it with my feet up. I didn't buy in to what the idea of the perfect life in retirement is, sitting on a fucking beach with my feet in the sand, drinking a beer. I'd rather eat a fucking bullet. I'll be bored to tears. I am a lunatic, and I want to experience as much in this world as I possibly can. So since 2014, I've been on the gas for it. And what it's come down to realizing is I'm able to create adaptation in myself the same way I did competing for my sport. The way it works there, right, with building muscle, building anything, was that I have to show up every day and create a little bit of stress so that my muscles rebuild and grow back stronger so that I'm more capable the next time when I face it. Well, those same rules apply to everything else in my life, from my emotional intelligence, my self-awareness, what my goals are, what everything is. And if I'm not willing to push that comfort zone, why are we biologically going to advance at all? Why are we going to adapt to that stress? The idea that we've been sold that stress is the fucking enemy and that you should avoid it at all cost is such a fuck up by the plan. We need it. So for me personally in 2015, I started leaning into a lot of stuff. Got into breath work. I got into using the cold plunge on a daily basis. If it's out there and it's making people better, I want to try it so that I have a personal experience with it so I know whether it worked for me. I don't want to sit on the sidelines and call something bullshit. I want to know. I want to know how it feels to be there. I want to know what that's like. And so since then, traveling the world and expanding and trying to see what all I can get involved in has led us to this. Having a really direct plan of where you want to go is going to be very, very important. But so many times with that plan, we're going to focus on the expectation of where we want it to land instead of the intention of what we're trying to accomplish every single day. Following expectation is pretending that you know the fucking outcome of this. I want everyone to quickly think back to what 10 years of their life was. Think back 10 years ago. What were you doing 10 years ago?
On the heat and air company.
What do you do now?
I build insane swimming pools and have an online e-commerce store.
If you had to talk to that guy and explain to him where you're at right now, how fucking crazy does that sound?
Asinine.
Right. So I'm done trying to predict where I'm landing. I'm done with it. I have no fucking clue. I would have never guessed that throwing rocks in a fucking field in a sport no one gives a shit about would have led me to speak on stage in front of people. It wouldn't have led me to travel around the world. It wouldn't have led me to film content and produce stuff for Indian Motorcycles. It wouldn't have allowed us to continue to produce content since 2008. I want to create and make a fucking impact to the people around me. I want to see people switch on and realize that their life is in their hands and it's up to you. You know, we talk about personal mantras and things like that with these groups and motivation and how you stay on top of yourself. And mine is only I can build my dreams. Only me. No one else. I'm not waiting for a fucking hand. Only me. And so knowing that means I've got to be the one that holds myself accountable, not anyone else. And if you can't do that, the rest of it's a waste. All the other details, everything that Ryan or any of the other speakers are talking about is a fucking waste. For me, nothing's ever popped. I've never had a podcast go over 1 million fucking listens, but I've got 350 episodes of a podcast done. I've never had a YouTube channel get giant numbers of views. I have 1,800 videos on my YouTube channel. I like making shit. I like creating. I like the challenge of it. I like being uncomfortable. And in that discomfort is where I find growth. And while I can no longer chase strength, I can chase the rest of the life experience. And the things now that make me uncomfortable are doing this. Now, I'm nervous as shit. Sitting in the back room, pacing, this feels exactly like pre-competition to me. And I fucking love it. That anxiety, that feeling that we all try to scare away from, that's the thing. That's the direction. That's the place to go. That thing that fears you, that you're so fucking scared of, that you know that that's the step, but what if? Fuck what if and go find out. Figure out what it is. Have the experience. Get beat. Show up. Fail. Doesn't fucking matter at the end of it. I'm dead in 1,143 more fucking weeks. What's the risk? Everyone in this room will fucking die. It's happening. That's the only guarantee I can say for every single person in this room what your experiences hold. And it's gonna come quick. And the more that I find myself in routine of doing the same bullshit every day, the more I'm switched off and weeks turn to months and months turn to fucking years and I go, what the fuck happened? But when I'm uncomfortable and when I'm present, time expands. Who's been on a trip and all of a sudden, like 10 days, you have all these memories of? Or go to a weekend like this and get impacted by people and you have such a different memory of how impactful it was, instead of 2 weeks in your normal life. It doesn't have to be that way. You can create those moments for yourself all the way along. But that's gonna be on you. No one's gonna show you how. No one's gonna find it for you. So if you don't know what your overall purpose is and mission in your life, that should be your fucking mission, is to find that purpose. Find that thing that sets your soul on fire. Find that thing that you can't turn off and you obsess over. You know, I'm an idiot kid with average grades from Louisiana. There's no reason that in a month, me and my buddy Brant, who's my media guy, are going to Uganda for a week to help film, put water wells in with an African tribe. I want to see the world and I want to experience it all. But it's all just built there. It's all built from doing the work, from some kids consistently showing up and deciding this is what I want to do, not listening to the other people that don't understand in your life. You don't have to explain to them. Yo, you don't need their fucking permission. Stop. Surround yourself with people that get it. That's what these groups are about. Find mentors. Find people that can lead you on that path to where you want to go. Lean into it. Listen to them. Surround yourself. Show up. The showing up's the biggest. If you can't show up, none of this information is worthwhile. None of it's worthwhile. That consistent part is where most people end up dropping the ball. Because everybody wants this big moment. And the reality is very few of us will ever get it. Some people pop, and it's awesome to see. But none of that's overnight. It's a fucking lie. Every overnight success I've ever made has got 20 years in the work behind it. And until you fully accept that and know that that's part of the deal, you're going to keep lying to yourself and thinking, man, that'd be nice. Man, that'd be nice. That's the biggest piece of scarcity that you're living with in your own life, is thinking that there is some other barrier besides what's in you that's stopping you from getting to where the fuck you want to go. But if you don't know where you want to go, all the effort's not that great. One of the Stoics has a quote about, all winds are bad without a port in mind. So knowing the direction you want to go allows the wind to help. Otherwise, we're just putting in effort. And effort's great, but without it being directed, it's just spinning wheels. So knowing where you want to go is going to be important. I work with my group on a lot of things, and building awareness is my number one thing I give about it, because if we don't know who you are, what you want, what you're made of, what your core values are, we can't build a plan. Because I want to put you toward the things that set your soul on fire. So I work a lot with journaling. Is anybody familiar with journaling? Anyone do it on a regular practice? All right, 6, like 8 of you. Killer. The rest of you are fucking up. The journaling really helps me work on gratitude and abundance and realizing that that's where I live. In the 300,000 years that our species has been kicking around this fucking planet, surviving ice ages and cataclysmic events and fucking comets hitting and war and famine and all these things. Everyone in this room is in the top 0.0001% of our species for the options you have to succeed. The fact that all of us have enough spare time to pursue things we are interested in instead of things that just keep us surviving is the biggest fucking gift we could all have. Choosing to miss that and think that there's some other greater importance, that's your fuck up. Now, a lot of that comes from your early life, your parents, the town you grew up in, the people you're surrounded by. You know, one of those questions I remember asking from my mom, the more I started getting into stuff, was just an awareness for her of religion. I was born in Louisiana and grew up Catholic church, Methodist church. And as I got older, had more questions about things, as a weird teenager does. And as I've gotten older and found on things, one of the questions I had from my mom was, so did you choose that religion because it makes the most sense to you? Or is that what you landed on based on the longitude and latitude that you were fucking born on? Because I want to choose all mine. I want to be aware and intelligent and educated on all these other things to pick and choose the things that are important to me. Because I don't believe anything is inherently important. I love that piece of nihilism. That none of this fucking matters, man. This planet will eventually get rid of us. At most, we've been kicking around for a little over 3 million years in various forms of Homo erectus and different forms of bipedal ape. The dinosaurs occupied our planet for 250 fucking million years. We're not even a blip of the important things that have happened on this rock yet. So let go of a lot of the bullshit that you think's important and make sure the things that you're focused on are important to you. And you alone. Quit trying to get your friend to buy in that it's important. Quit trying to get your parents to buy in that it's important. If it's important to you, start moving toward it. Start figuring it out. We run a journaling practice that I work with my group, and it's a really simple one to help find purpose. And for those of you who aren't familiar with journaling and don't know where to start, because man, it's intimidating to start opening that conversation and dialogue with yourself. But a great place to start is a really 30-day one. And it's, here's the 3 questions you'll ask yourself at the end of every day. What brought me enthusiasm today? And for those curious, I didn't make this up. I stole it from a book called The Third Door. What brought you enthusiasm today? Second question, what stole my energy? And the third one is, what did I learn? And these are really simple topics that you can really dive into in depth. And as you guys go into it, remember, you're writing this for you. So let go of judgment of whatever that feeling is or whatever that voice is about what you're writing. You're not writing this for someone else to read and approve. This is you trying to open a dialogue with you to figure out what it is we want and what it is we want to be. Without that direction, all of the effort and all the motivation to accomplish all these big fucking goals will still leave you unfulfilled. Is anyone familiar with the idea of the hedonic treadmill? So, the hedonic treadmill is an idea that everyone's baseline happiness is about the same. We've all experienced this, right? Feel about this way, we accomplish a new thing, things are going great, buy a new thing, get the house, make this next improvement, and it comes back around to being at the same level of happiness that I was before. Because what you need to be adjusting is your base level of happiness, not chasing the things. Because if you can't sort out your base level of happiness and figure out what it is that brings you the most joy in your life, you'll keep returning. You'll keep returning to whatever that base thing and go, fuck, that wasn't it. Fuck, that wasn't it. So if you don't know what it is for you, we're just spinning those wheels. So how to improve that happiness through this journaling, right? Taking those notes and looking at the end of a 30-day time, this thing will start to look at it. If we go and sit down and read it to ourselves, take notes. What trendingly brought me enthusiasm throughout all this time? What made it? Was it when I was in service? Was it when I was surrounded by people who put this fire in my life? When I was surrounded by people fucking doing things and taking action and choosing to make the most of their life? What are the things? Was it when I was out in the woods camping? Was it when I was out on a long trail run? Was it when I was out training? What are the things? And then the other, what stole my energy? Is it bullshit nonsense at work? Is it being around fucking negative people that you feel like you have to convince that wanting more in your life is a good thing? Instead of a bunch of people who want to tell you, oh, you should be happy. Fuck you. Fuck you telling me what I should and shouldn't be. That's for me to figure out. And for all of you to figure out. It's a really rough spot landing somewhere that you believe is supposed to make you happy, but you aren't. And that's got to be for you to fucking decide to sort out today. That's for you to decide to go forward with. Because once you accept the total accountability that your life is whatever the actions you decide to take every day to make it that way, then it's all on you. So if we don't get there, it's because I didn't care enough. And if I don't care enough, let's find something I do. Let it go. Find the other thing. Keep exploring and keep trying. The thing I became best in the world at is the Scottish Highland Games. I'm from Louisiana. This is a 700-year sport from the other side of the world. This is not a standard path that accidentally landed me here. This is exploration. This is trying new shit. This is sucking at stuff. You know how few adults decide to do a new thing? To show up and be bad at shit? To show up and be vulnerable and realize I suck at this? That's part of it. But what did I learn from all the years of training? Consistency and repetition. All of those things are what create the adaptation to make me what I want to be and where I want to go. So using those journaling prompts and then the final one, what did I learn? Starts building this awareness of where we want to go. Look at both of those ends, right? Of what starts trending on the back end of what stole my energy and what's on the other end of what brought me enthusiasm. This is how you set your compass. We want to go that way and get the fuck out of that one. And maybe we can't do it today, we can't do it tomorrow, but we can start taking steps toward it. There is a single step today that you can do. If you have a passion about opening a business, you want to do something else, you want to start networking, you want to change your life, you want to lose weight, take a step. Whether that step's go for a fucking walk or listen to a podcast, do something that takes an action that says, I want it. And then do it again tomorrow. Continue to choose those things that are going to build the life you want to be in. And instead of, why isn't this where I wanted to be? It's all on you. And whether you do or not, you'll be dead anyway. So what's the risk? Why not take it? You know, that opportunity that you've got to make your life what it is for you is going to require you starting to set some really good boundaries. And that's a hard one for people, is figuring out how to set boundaries. Because everyone thinks boundaries are setting this line in the fucking sand that I'm not letting people cross. People are going to cross your fucking boundaries because they're not their boundaries. These boundaries are for you to decide. These boundaries are for you to hold sacred. They're for your actions to back up because this is the direction I'm going and it's a fucking non-negotiable in my life. And there's two types of people in your life that'll cross those boundaries. Those people you love and it's accidental and they don't know. And them, I love. That's cool. That's not their boundaries. They don't mean it. It isn't personal. I can move on, love them anyway. But I'm going that way, and I'm not asking permission. And then there's people that cross those boundaries in your life because it makes them uncomfortable, and it reflects on them what they're not doing, and they want to get in your way because somehow that helps. I look at this as malicious intent. That if someone has decided that their path in life is fucking greater than my pursuit in life, I find it malicious and fuck them. We're out. We will never operate together again. Because if I do, at some point when that dog bites, it's my fault. Because that dog bites, and we know it. So don't be mad when he continues to do it. Choosing to figure out who and what in your life is the next thing to help you grow to the next thing is what we're all doing. I promise you there is never gonna be a there. Everyone in this room that you are listening to speak has continued to build and grow and push themselves and continue to level up. And that's what we're all here to do. We're all here because we want better. We want more from ourselves. And like the other part of be the change you want to see in the world, right? That means I'm the only one accountable to me. This is the only fucking standard I get to hold. I don't get to decide how he lives his life. Yeah, I don't give a shit. I hold this standard. And I hold that standard in my group of people. We're not going to sit around and bitch and moan. We're going to sit there and be around each other and be present. Because in those moments that I'm the most present, I know I'm the most happy. I know because I'm not worried about bullshit in my future. I'm not worried about what happened in my past. And I get a chance to actually be in it, surrounded by people I love, doing shit I care about. And my purpose is getting to spend as many of those 1,143 weeks I have left doing that. I want to see the world. I want to make an impact on people. And I want to create the most opportunity for me to figure out who I am and where I want to go. And I can also accept that that is a changing mark, because every chapter gets us to the next. I didn't think throwing rocks in fields would lead me to owning an apparel brand. I didn't think owning an apparel brand would lead me to signing a book deal. I didn't think starting to film video content on YouTube was setting up a flip cam and a film and throwing in front of it and sending it to the other 10 dudes on earth that I threw against would be the thing that got me to film a $150,000 deal with Indian Motorcycles last year, taking 3,000-mile motorcycle trips around the country. So I don't know where it's going to go, but I know that if I continue to follow my intention of make improvements to me, become more valuable, become more resilient, become more capable, know that I can show up, know that I can deal with stress. Because if I'm not the one choosing my stress, the unplanned stress of life will find me, and that is the fucking highest thing you ever deal with, and it's crushing. I've got to be the one that deals with stress on my own time, so that when life and the universe shows up, I go, okay, we felt like this before. We've been here. I'm confident because I've been to the fire. I'm confident because I've shown up to do the work. I'm confident because I know pushing myself, I don't have to sell it to anyone else. I know that I will show up and do that work in a fucking vacuum because it matters to me. I don't need you to love it. I want you to feel about your life the way I feel about mine. Being able to find that push to drive yourself to do the most you can with your time on this earth is what I care about. That's what I give a shit about. And I want to see other people live the same way. I want to build impact. I want to change lives. I want to be able to see the most I can. And we can often get in our own way and start telling the lies about why we can't. I can't do that. It's too much. Or the fear of, like, what if I got to go backwards to get ahead again? But I'm already 5 years into this career. I'm already 10 years into this career. But what if I got to go backwards? A lot of life left in front of you. What are you going to do with it? And if I don't know where I was 10 years ago, let it rip. How many of you are pretty new to doing mentorship groups and working with someone and following a coach and having something like this to help you build your life? Has anyone seen big fucking improvement from doing that since they've started? What does that extrapolate out to for 10 fucking years if you give this much of a shit? It's not about what you can do in 6 months. It's about setting you up in 10 years to have the most options you can to make as many decisions as that fucking person wants to make. I know I want freedom. I want to wake up and spend doing my life on things I give a shit about as often as possible. But I got to create that today. And by creating that today is doing the work. Is showing up and being consistent. Taking on those stress. Not avoiding the things that I'm scared of. Learning what I don't know. Being a white belt in every single aspect of my life. The more that I admit that I'm fucking wrong and I'm stupid and I don't know it and I can learn. But if I already know everything, there's nowhere to grow. And what we want is growth. That's what we want. We want to grow. We want to level up. We want to make our lives better. I run a coaching group called Not Dead Yet Life, and I want to help people find purpose and build awareness in their life, to let go of the bullshit behind them and decide that the years in front of them are the ones that count. I am no longer obligated or have to be who I was. I love that I got to be a professional and a world champion in a sport. It's what I did, it ain't who I am. And that's what I want. I want to be Matt Vincent. I don't want to be a Highland Games world champion. I don't want to be a motivational speaker. I'm Matt Vincent. I do a lot of shit because that's what my life's for. So man, I hope that you guys feel this today and get inspired and realize this is a singular moment that you can decide going on to tomorrow that, God damn it, on January 21st when I was in Salt Lake City, that fucking changed my life going to that event. Or this will be another thing that you didn't get anything out of. Both of those are dependent on you. There's not a single speaker that comes up on this stage and has anything to give you. It's just mindset, it's passion, it's direction, which means all of that was already here. That is changing your perspective. And managing your perspective allows you to alter your reality. And being able to control that allows you to do whatever you want. So I'm Matt Vincent. I would love to work with anyone I can.
Every single fucking time. Thanks, man.
Proud to do it.
We got some good speakers here, don't we? Yeah. Man.